Hi everyone, welcome to today's musings. It's January the 5th and I'd like to follow up a little bit of the Christmas story because it's quite elongated when you look at it completely. And this is the story of losing Jesus. And we know that in our life today that we often lose sight that the divine came down on earth to save all of humanity. Not just the people at the time, but the people who would be born later in life. So what had happened, of course, is the family had been in the temple. When Joseph and Mary had done everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong. He was filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was on him. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. After the festival was over, while the parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Remember, it was Jesus who stayed behind. He did not follow his parents. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. And again, the amount of time it took to go from one place to another reminds us of our journeys sometimes trying to be a better person. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they didn't find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. So you can imagine it's 2 to 3 days now. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." And of course, remember, technically, Joseph wasn't his father, but he was certainly bringing up Jesus. "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" Of course, he's in the temple. But they didn't understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and all. Sometimes, of course, that's translated as being about his father's business. Or correctly, "Did you not know that I had to inhabit my divine inheritance and nature?" So this is an interesting story in a way. When you think about it, Jesus didn't follow his parents. But we know, as the divine on earth, that was not his goal to follow his parents, was it? His goal was to save all of humanity. And he had to quickly get the knowledge that he would need for his future life in this world. And of course, he is about 12 years old. We have a gap between when he was born, when he was 12, and then when he was in his 30s and first became really important to humanity. That's where he was leading people, getting them to think, getting them to follow him. So what does it mean to us today? Well, I think it shows us in our journey the importance of keeping our focus on the divine. There are times in our lives when we certainly don't do that. We may become afraid. We may become overly busy. We may think God has forgotten us. But one of the important messages in our lives is that God never forgets us. It is we who forget God. So let's see if there are any other little sayings here that would help us on this journey of keeping track of the divine. This is from Isaiah 53. "We all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him or her the iniquity of us all. Again, we go astray, just like the sheep. My sheep wandered over all the mountains and on every high hill. They were scattered over the whole earth, and no one searched or looked for them. From Ezekiel. Again, all we like sheep have gone astray, the passage from the Messiah. And then, of course, when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And of course, the famous passage, the two-word passage, Jesus wept. Jesus wept when he saw what had happened to humanity, how it had strayed like sheep, how it had forgotten the importance of loving others, of helping others, of working hard to follow the divine leading. And later on, of course, Jesus said, "Very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep." So let us spend our time, just a short moment perhaps, after this is finished. Think about times when you feel you have gone astray, as if you were like sheep, or that you were worried or anxious or frightened, or really believed that the divine had forgotten you. The divine is our shepherd. The divine is our Saviour. The divine loves each and every one of us with a passion, even when we behave as an evil human being. May God be with you all in this new year, 2022. May it feel like a new and blessed start for you in your life. Amen, and bless you all.